This is going to be another example of option C. This is the more obvious use of the program. I'm going to determine what size wire is required for a particular wire run. In the last example, we determined how many speakers could go on a particular wire size. So it's a little bit different. I press C to go into that part of the program. Once again, I'm going to choose a 24-volt power supply, no more than a 4-volt drop, 600 ohm audio input impedance, no more than an 8 dB loss on the audio wire run. I suppose my first speaker is a 1 Valcom power unit speaker and it's 25 feet from the power supply, and my second speaker is 3 Valcom power units and it's 40 feet from the first speaker. Okay, I've entered 2 speakers. It's waiting for me to put in speaker number 3. If I wanted to review my entries, I could simply press X and enter like this, and it'll tell me my entries so far. It tells me that speaker 1 was 1 Valcom power unit at 25 feet from the power supply. Speaker number 2 was a 3 Valcom power unit speaker. It was 65 feet from the power supply, or 40 feet from speaker number 1. It tells me here the 24 gauge is required up to that point. I can leave this option on. I can just press enter to continue, and the screen will come up after each entry to tell me where I am, or I can press X, as I'm going to do, to discontinue that. Another option is I can back up. Suppose I want to re-enter speaker number 2. I can simply put in B2, enter, and it'll prompt me for speaker number 2 again. And suppose I want to change it to a 4 Valcom power unit speaker that is 50 feet from speaker number 1. Okay. I can do something called auto entry repeat. Suppose that the next 10 speakers that I want to enter are all 1 Valcom power unit and they're 50 feet from each other. I can press A. I can automatically put those in. Press A, enter. I can put in speaker number 3 as 1 Valcom power unit. It's 50 feet from speaker number 2, and then press enter. It'll say, how many times do you want to put that entry in? I can put 10 times. Okay, and it has duplicated that 10 times. I can go to X to see if it really did that, and there it is. Okay, 3 to 12, that would be 10 times. 1 Valcom power unit, 50 feet from each other. And again, I'll press X to enter this, to exit that section. Okay. So these are the main functions here on the main screen. Notice that after each entry it tells you the DC power pair that's required, the audio pair that's required. If you go below 22 gauge, you get this message just telling you that by putting the power supplies closer to the speakers you can use smaller size wire. It also tells you for this particular run 20 gauge is required. It tells you can twist 3 pairs of 24 gauge together. It always tells you how many pairs of 24 gauge would be equivalent of what's required. Once you're done, you can press X to review your entries again, or you can press enter, and then there's some other options here that we talked about in the last example. I'm going to press 8 to end.